YouTube, it is I, Karma, coming to you with some one-on-one total Brohammer action. I myself am heading the Wood Elves, the new look Wood Elves, with many of their regiments of renown, and I'm facing off against Gojira of Norsca, everyone's favorite 12-year-old gamer. So it's a real quick battle, but it shows off a lot of the new regiments of renown for the Wood Elves, so it's fun for that. So as you'll be seeing this video, I'm no longer special. Everyone should have Queen of the Throne DLC by this time. What made me unique, for a week, has now, the highest highs are followed by the lowest low, guys. Like Icarus, I soared to the sky, and I nearly touched the sun. But May 31st has come around, and the wax has melted, and my wings have become nothing but disentangled feathers, and I've been cast into the ocean, and ocean of sadness, which was filled by my tears, because without early access, I am nothing. I'm just a husk of a man. And with that, let's get on to the builds. I brought the Wood Elves. So I wanted to show off some of the regiments of renown because we haven't had a good chance to look at them too much. So I brought these guys, the Warrens of Cithrel, who are, I think, a very, very effective unit. At 1200, you get, Silver Shield, which is huge for Wood Elves because a lot of them have Silver Shields, but it helps them be, they're an elite unit, and the other elite units for Wood Elves, like War Dancers and Wildwood Rangers, do not have shields, and they have low armor, so they're very susceptible, it's a hard word for me, guys, susceptible to ranged fire. So with those shields, it makes them very survivable. On top of that, they have 99 leadership, which is crazy good. Well, base 80 something, what's the base? 86, which is quite high. They do 61 melee attack, which is insanely high, which alongside 30 armor sundering. So they're going to be very, very good. Oh, cool. It's about like the Canadian way, not the American way. Yeah, score one for Canada. Anyways, so yeah, they do armor sundering, which is going to, of course, help them in the front line, as well as bolster War Dancers, because as we all know, they don't really have the greatest AP value. These guys do. What is their AP value? 10. It's not terrible, and with 8 bonus, but still, with that extra bit in addition with the Warrens of Cithrel due to the negative 30 armor, it'll make them that much better. And I think they're the only unit on the roster that does that. And then, of course, they have 33 weapon strength, which isn't great, but they're a halberd unit, so it makes sense that they would have bonus versus large of 15. So fighting large units are going to be doing 75 melee attack and 48 armor piercing damage, which is crazy high. And regularly, they'll be doing pretty good missile armor piercing damage. Pardon me. Total Brohammer returns again at 61 melee attack. So a good little unit. So they're pretty good. Of course, we have Durthu there. We all know Durthu. Some Dryads, some Spearmen. The next regiment right now we should take a look at is these guys, who I don't think are very good, but I think I thought just for fun. What do they look like? These guys are quite funky. They got like, they have like Darth Maul blades. These are little Darth Maul ladies. Funky and tattooed Darth Maul ladies. Yeah, don't fuck with the tattooed Darth Maul ladies. Unless you can cut them in half. But then I think they come back. I'm pretty sure in Star Wars lore, Darth Maul gets cut in half rather, thrown down a pit of doom into, like, I don't know, a giant reactor, and then somehow survives in the cartoon. But hey, don't ask me. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like that's true. Anyways, I feel like I've heard it somewhere. So what do we have with these guys? 44 melee attack, 64 melee defense, good stats all around, 46 speed, of course, very fast, very high leadership. And they too have quite high armor piercing damage. 23 bonus versus large is insane. Frankly, it brings them up to 56 and 67, so they'll be very, very good against large, as you would expect. And of course, they also have this ability, Loic Shroud, to make them stalk, and they have this to add melee attack at the cost of melee defense, which for them isn't really that big of a difference, because taking down 27, so that takes them down to 34, which isn't the greatest, but, or 37, which isn't the greatest melee defense, but it pumps up their melee attack. So in battles you need to win, that'll be quite helpful. And of course, they have Frenzy. So that's so those are the two of the regiments of renown, and then there's two more here. So let's go over them real quick. So there's the Hawkeyes of Jakira, who are a very, very effective unit, as you'll see in this game. So these guys are like we thought the Waywatchers were, the true Legolasses, but no, these guys put those guys to shame. So they have decent combat stats, but that's what we're looking at here. We are looking at is 190 range, which is, again, I think the longest range for any ranged unit in the game, the longest range for any archer unit in the game, rather. And then they do 42 armor-piercing missile damage, which is crazy high, and of course they have Discourage. So they're going to be very good at, sending units back to retreat, or whether in a body bag or by their own volition. And then finally we have these guys, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. So what do these guys do? Just have really good stats. 49 and 40 and 45 is really, really high, especially for Wood Elves. especially for a pretty. I guess they're kind of heavy cav at this point. I mean, they don't have the armor, so not really heavy cav like traditionally, but in terms of cost, they're a very expensive unit. I think they cost 1,500. But they have very high weapon damage, very high charge, super fast at 85. They're probably the fastest unit that hits this hard. So that combination makes them, of course, great. They look very cool with their little red capes and their red shields. And their shields are silver, by the way, so that makes them very good at resisting missile fire. And of course, they come with physical resistance of 20, they cause fear, and they have the garden ability. So a very useful little unit. 1,500 is quite expensive, but I think you'll see them brought quite often because of what they can do, what they can provide. So that's my army, and I thought they would sync well with Durthu, because Durthu's a little more hardier lord. Over here, Gojira again. I'll get started now. Gojira's brought, it's Norsca, so we know Norsca Ice Wolves. A front line of Marauder champions, which is smart because they all have silver shields, they have bronze shields. I lied, but they have shields. Actually, everything he has shields. Marauders. Ugh, again, CA, please change the banners. How am I supposed to tell which unit's which when I'm fighting them? And they even look alike from far away. Ugh, they look exactly identical. What the hell? CA, come on. Yeah, that's really. There's virtually no difference. That's so difficult to tell who's who. Yes, yeah, you gotta fix that. Okay, they gotta fix the banners, because that's nuts. Because when you're fighting a battle, it's hard to tell what this front line is, unless you go and check individually. He's got on the side, he's got some Familiar Warriors. He's got Familiar Warriors on both sides. Of course, they cause armor sundering. Their stats are quite high, 38, 42, and 80. They're very good units, 110 armor. He's got Wolfric the Wanderer, doing some wandering on his chariot. He's got the Lore of Fire with Fireball, Burning Head, and Sword of Wrath, and Sword of Flame and Burning, I think John called it, which I like. Sword of Flame and Burning. Flaming Sword of Burning. Okay, so right away I'm going to reposition my troops, get in a line. I want my Dryads to engage with what I thought were Marauders, but of course it's impossible to tell who's who, as we just went over. I figured, Durthu will be able to punch through it as long as I help him with the Branch Wraith. And then I want, these guys was really where, these guys I wanted to keep back because I wanted to protect my Hawkeyes of Jakira. Because if these wolves get on there, it's over. He gets a nice Fireball in here, does, decent damage. Fireball's AP has been increased. According to the patch notes. I don't know if we're playing on that current version, but it does have a higher AP, so that is worth noting. I get that Limitation of Despair on them. It does almost nothing. It's kind of a waste. I decided to charge in, try to negate their charge. Obviously my Spearmen are not meant for this fight, but what can you do? I'm expecting more large units. At this point, I still start firing into and that's one volley. Look at that, 2 volleys, and he's almost at 0. He's almost at 0 leadership, and he's at, oh my god, almost half his health. So these guys are no joke. The Hawkeyes of Jakira are savage. I'm going to get a nice catch on his Norscan Ice Wolves with my Wild Riders of Kurnos, and they're going to make short work of them. I get a nice punch of the Penumbra in there, doing some good damage on them while my lines hold. Durthu in here is popping his abilities, reducing their armor, causing damage. Of course, he's using the help of the Eternal Guard and the Dryads to support. The Marauders are probably going to lose to Eternal Guard. I don't think their stats 34, 28, 28. Yeah, they will lose for sure over time. It'll just take them a long time. Meanwhile, look at the dragon. It's got almost no work done. It's been shot to shit by these snipers, by the Hawkeyes of Jakira. He does bring these other wolves in, but of course I'm going to be able to ward them off. He brings them a little too late, because by the time he does bring them in, my Wild Riders of Kurnos have already killed their Ice Wolf brethren. So yeah, these guys are on the hunt and they're ready to take them down. Meanwhile, the front lines have done well. My War Dancers did exceptionally well in this battle. I'm very shocked. Here the Hawkeyes have found a new target, and they're just going to melt these Familiar Warriors. Just whatever they set their sights on, it's just almost instantly dead. Like, look at that. It's so impressive how much damage these guys can do. Of course, they do cost 1,500. They're not cheap. A lot of almost all the High Elf regiments of renown are quite expensive. I would say maybe a little overpriced, but these guys are devastating when they get their hooks into a target. I mean, look at the Familiar Warrior. That was like 3 or 4 volleys, and they're already gone. This dragon's had 3 or 4 volleys, and he's almost ready to die. Of course, there's no healing on Norsca, so these guys are even more effective against Norsca. Yeah, you got to be really afraid with these guys, with the Wood Elf's ability to bring these guys on the battlefield. I mean, if I had Prevath Rema, oof, jeez, I wouldn't even want to know how much damage that could do. But yeah, you just see every attack not only lowers leadership, but takes so much damage. He's gonna try and get a breath attack in, but it's kind of over at this point. So we get a nice last few arrows in there to bring down the dragon. I don't know if we're going to be able to kill it. We'll see. Maybe we will. I think we will, because they're super accurate as well. Let's see. Oh, come on, bring him down. And there he goes. Oh, shit. That dragon is fucked. 2 heads. Not always better than one. 2 heads worse than 1, or than 45 Drakiran Hawkeyes. That's what we learned, guys. In the game of Warhammer Rock, Paper, Scissors, Drakira beats Frostworm. So yeah, fun little battle. We didn't really see these guys at all. The little tricksters. I don't think I got 1 kill with them. Yeah, I didn't really use them much at all. Wasn't able to see them much in action, but we saw how devastating these guys are. They took almost no damage against the Ice Wolves, who again are not soft units. They're quite tough. Tough light cav units. I would classify them as light cav. They're quite tough light cav units. So yeah, they have 42 weapon strength. So you'd expect them to do well against the Kurnos, or do at least okay against the Wild Hunters of Kurnos due to the lack of armor. But no, because of that, because of those inflated stats, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos are just very difficult to counter. They're very, very effective. And then of course, the Hawkeyes of Drakira were able to just shoot down the Familiar Warriors and bring them to show them the way to death. And yeah, so quick, fun little battle. Just show off some of the Wood Elf Regiments of Renown as you guys enjoy Queen of the Crone on your own. I mean, you don't need me to show you anymore, but hey, maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't know what campaign to start, or oh, I don't know who to play as a multiplayer. Maybe this will interest you in the Wood Elves. Anyways, thanks guys for joining me, and I'll see you around the bend.